I believed that Satan ruled the world, that I couldn't trust my own thinking process because evil spirits would invade my mind.
As a loyal disciple of the Reverend Sun Myung Moon, Steve Hassan was caught up in what for many parents is one of their worst nightmares. He left behind his family, beliefs, and education to devote his life to Moon and the Unification Church. He became a Moonie and a victim of cult mind control.
They asked me to throw away my poetry, donate my bank account, drop out of school, quit my job, and eventually cut off from my family because they were critical of my involvement.
Steve was a student at Queens College in New York in 1974 when he was recruited by what he thought was a nice group of young people who, like Steve, were looking for a way to improve the world. But after a weekend retreat with the group, he was well on his way to being brainwashed.
He was into sports, practiced basketball, football, got a lot of good books, and he thought he was going away to have a ball. But little did he know what he was getting into.
What Steve has gotten into is one of the largest cults in the country, claiming over 30,000 members nationally. In the 70s, the group became visible by selling puppets and flowers on the street and by their mass weddings at Madison Square Garden, presided over by Reverend Moon. Moon, a Korean millionaire, is worshipped as the self-proclaimed Messiah, and the basis for the church's belief is their intense opposition to the satanic forces of communism. To involve Steve, they spared no means of persuasion.
And then there's specific mind control techniques such as hypnosis, behavior modification techniques, sleep deprivation, information control, phobia indoctrination. And World War III was going to happen any day between Russia and America. And people were being summoned to join this messianic movement to establish the kingdom of heaven on earth. And what was more important, going to college or saving the world?
He tried to keep in touch, but you could not talk to him. He was under a mind control, and people do not believe it until they see it.
It wasn't until 2.5 years later when I was falling asleep at the wheel of a fundraising van and had a serious car accident that my family was able to locate me and ultimately have me sit down with former members and deprogram me.
I had a lump on my heart that just felt like there was a weight on it. And when my husband came back and said he's out, it just like lifted.
I felt terribly depressed. I mean, I had given my heart, my energy, my time. I dropped out of school. I had recruited people into a group, and there I was. I realized, holy mackerel, you know, Moon is a con man. He's not the Messiah. It's very real, and it is very frightening. So personally, I look at people who dabble with those symbols and such, and I just think to myself, these people have no idea what they're dealing with.
Since his programming, Steve has become committed to helping other cult victims. He lectures to high schools and colleges and counsels former cult members. He has also written a book called Combating Cult Mind Control, in which he details how to protect yourself and your family from the cult mind control that ruled his life.
If you look in the mirror and you say, it could never happen to me, it can. You have that thing that nothing can change you, yet you're smart enough to outwit anybody. You can be sucked in.